Hi, hello, it's Leilani from the Bible in 1 Year. We are reading the book of Jonah, and today we are focusing on chapter 2. This chapter kicks off with the Lord that prepared a great fish to swallow Jonah. Now, we all know this story, but today I want us to make it our own. Now, some people question if this could really happen, as the Bible said it did. But surely it is not a difficult thing for God to have prepared a great fish, even if that particular fish was a special creation for that moment. We can speculate and discuss so many things, but what we can say with certainty is that this fish was a lifeboat for Jonah. We know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and everything that flows from his mouth is the truth. And even Jesus said that this story of Jonah was true, because he quoted it in Matthew 12. Now, I think a lot of us can relate with Jonah. He was often rebellious, resistant, but still a believer of God. Now, the wonderful thing about God is that our characteristics and our shortcomings does not stop him from wanting to use us. God was not finished with Jonah. And this book shows us that God has a way of bringing us to the place where he wants us to be. God could have rescued Jonah in so many ways, but he chose this specific way because of the effect it would have on the heart of Jonah. Now, when Jonah found himself in the belly of the fish, he started praying, like I think all of us would. But he started praying and he said, I cried out to the Lord because of my affliction, and he answered me. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. He was still in the belly of the fish, but he knew it was enough that the Lord had heard his cry. And in faith, Jonah knew that he would be delivered. He knew that God heard him before the answer came. And this shows that Jonah had faith and that God can give total peace and assurance that prayer is answered even before we see the manifestation of the answered prayer. Now, Jonah realized that it wasn't the sailors who casted him into the sea. It was God himself. Jonah saw that he had never been out of the hands of God. Though he tried to run from God, his greatest pain was that he was separated from God. And in his bottomless pit, he turned his heart towards God. He then repented from running away from God and turned to God with sacrifice and thanksgiving. In all this, we see that repentance is more than a one-time event. Though it begins at one time, it must continue and mature. Repentance is an event, but it is also a process. At one time or another, Jonah probably said what we all have said, Lord, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Even the fish worked at the command of God. Just as much as the fish was under the command of God when it swallowed Jonah, it was also under his command when it let him out or let him go. Now realize this. If God can speak to a fish, he can speak to us. God has a specific plan for each of our lives. He wants us to build his church and to be in relationship with him. And we will often be rebellious and we will often refuse to listen to him. But even in those moments, he will always make a plan to bring us back to him. Because he is not a God that gives up on us when we make mistakes. He never gave up on Jonah. He will not give up on you. Until we read together again next week, be blessed and goodbye.